All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, Shifty Industry. Closing out the episode this week, we're going to do something a little different here. We're going live with it. We're going to go live with it. So we still have Patty here, and myself, Timmy. I don't know if you caught any of this. If you just got done listening to part one of this episode, you might have noticed that Matt was getting a little unruly. It's kind of going off the rails there. So we shipped him off to Ohio. So he can,
was he?
Yeah. So we shipped him off to Ohio he can think about what he's done. So, but maybe he'll be back for part two.
That ought to teach him a lesson.
Well, it's Ohio. But anyway, joining us across the airwaves, we have a special guest for you, straight from the beautiful suburban Atlanta landscape. I know him as Chops. I've known him my whole life as Chops, but you're going to get to know him as Mike Sartain.
Hello, everybody.
From Decatur, Georgia.
What's up?
Recording expert, ex-restaurant employee, musical artist, all-around masterful human being. It's great to see you.
It's great to see you too, man. It's been so long. I'm so glad that we've all come out with our heads on our shoulders after all this crazy shit that's been happening.
That's right. And you've said that you've been out of the F&B industry for quite some time. And last time I saw you was at when I was cutting my teeth as an owner at the old Appaloosa Grill there in Denver, Colorado.
The Horse.
Shout out to the Horse. Those guys are still there. They're still kicking ass. And
they are.
I have the memories that I do have of the Appaloosa are pretty fond. A lot of great relationships were made, and
probably a bit blurred too.
Oh, very much so. It's been a while, but we have you here to like you said when I reached out to you. You mentioned that this was quite serendipitous. We've been kind of picking and choosing our favorite artists to help us close out our shows and help promote what they have going on and kind of cross promote each other. And when I reached out to you, you had mentioned that you've got this pretty wild event / benefit going on at Underground Atlanta. And
yeah, that's correct, man.
We're going to get into that in a minute. But back to, this is an F&B podcast, not so much a factual one, but it is, the F in F&B doesn't necessarily stand for facts, but we're gonna do our best.
Facts and bullshit. All right.
That's right. Facts and bullshit.
A little bit of both.
That's
well,
right.
I do, I wouldn't consider myself an expert about food, but I am a 278-pound man. So, I get my share of it done.
And you've earned all of that.
Absolutely. And probably 90% of it's beer.
Fair enough. But yeah, we definitely had some good times back in the day. So you definitely know how the industry works. And I'd love to hear some stories.
Okay. Well, I can tell you two. One was actually one of my favorite ones, just because it was one of the most bizarre things. Because I will say about those days, even talking with other people who have worked in some restaurants and bars and stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh, we were wild," and it's like, "No, you weren't." You had nothing on us. And so one of my favorites is from when you were my boss, Tim. And I remember you working these insane hours where you would come in at 7:00, and then you'd be in the kitchen, and then you'd be managing, and then you'd be kind of popping around, and then you'd be there into the evening. So if it was slow, you go ahead and take off as you should. And so after about 30 minutes, I guess, after you left, a certain bartender with sandy blonde hair who drastically overuses the word dude produced a bag of mushrooms that, unbeknownst to any of us except for him, had been laced with MDMA. And we all took them. So the hostess, the bartenders, the servers, the cooks.
What the fuck?
Yeah, see, I told you.
The good old horse.
Like I heard mushrooms and I'm like, yeah, I guess it's pretty crazy. Then you're like laced with, I'm like, what?
Well,
that's what I'm saying, man. When people are like, "Oh yeah, we were wild," it's like, no, you fucking weren't.
well, you know, when the cat's gone, the mice are gonna play, I guess. And
Exactly.
and we always took things to the next level there at the horse. That's interesting.
Absolutely. So, one of the things I remember about that is just trying to get it together. And there was a set of stairs behind the restaurant. And I remember sitting there with my head in my hands, just like, dude, you got to get it together. You got to get it going. And then as soon as I got it together, one of the other servers came in there and he did the exact same thing. And he just came down there and he put his head in his hands, just like, what the fuck, dude? And that is honestly like one of the times that I really wish that I could have like just exited my body and just watched what was going on, because I'm sure that every customer in there was just like, what in God's name is happening here? Like, is this like some sort of front for a cult? Like, what is wrong with these people?
Am I being punked? And you got to
Yeah,
deal with like
yeah,
fire
like,
and knives and stuff
people,
too.
yeah.
Well, I
like,
imagine this was like during at least late night. I'm assuming this wasn't
Oh, for sure.
a lunch shift, for God's sake.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Like,
But,
it's probably about 6:30.
Oh, okay. Well,
But I mean,
the candles and all that stuff in there, I could see that. That's funny.
So we had an inflatable bomb that we kept in our walk-in cooler.
That is the first time I've heard of that. Like usually fire and
I haven't seen. I've never seen one before, and I haven't seen one since. And what it looks like is like when I was a kid, I called it swimmies. They were the little things that you put on a baby and you throw them in the pool on their arms to make sure they don't fucking drown. I'm sure there's some more
sophisticated technology,
non-binary name for them now. But that's what it looked like. It looked like a fucking swimmy. And we would fold it up, and then we would just tuck it just behind one of the pipes. And it got to the point to where if you saw somebody walking back there with a half a pint glass of water, you knew to get your tables fucking straightened out and get back down into the walk-in because there was some good shit going on back there. And it happened with such frequency. And I don't think it was Tim, but it was one of the other owners, I believe, who had kind of got onto us a little bit about it. And he caught us back there smoking. And he was like, what did I tell you about this? I told you not to fucking do this. The fucking health department comes in here. They're going to shut us the fuck down. Come on, man. Like, get with me here. And he goes, give me that shit. And he took an enormous rip off of it and then handed it back to us and then slammed the walk-in door. And that was it. And so,
it's a do as I say, not as I do, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. So those, I mean, off the top of my head, like those are probably my two favorite, at least from the horse. But yeah, we were a wild bunch. But I will say that those people. I mean, obviously, like me and Tim, our friendship has gone on for so fucking long. Like after that time, and we really were this a highly dysfunctional family, but a family nevertheless. So. Yeah, I have really fond memories of being there, and me and Tim definitely laughed a lot. I'll give you one more good Tim one, and this is a Tim one, because like I was trying to get out of there so I could go buy a bag of weed, and I was kind of like rushing through like all my closing duties and stuff like that, and Tim just goes, Chops, just fucking chill out. You'll get your dope. Just chill out. All right.
Sounds like a Tim line.
Yeah.
Oh man, the good old days. Well,
The
I'm
good
glad. I'm glad you got out. Uh,
You know, and I think that's an interesting thing too, because a lot of people didn't. You know, I mean, we lost friends, and you know, we lost people to bad decisions and stuff, you know, stuff like that. And so,
yeah.
yeah, it's I love connecting with people from the horse from that time, because it's all like we were just so degenerate and crazy that we were all just like tops, just like spinning around, you know, and like
Right.
crashing into each other. And then it's like, all right, we got our shit together. And now it's like, all right, I can see what Tim's doing, like with Southern General, and like I can see what Erica's doing, and I can see, you know, like all these people that we worked with that actually did just be like, all right, yeah, that's enough, you know. And you know, that's been like one of my inspirations into my you know, exploration into sobriety.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and as you said, some of our ex-colleagues and our good closest friends, you know, didn't quite make it out of the industry in other ways, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But uh, all right, tell me about this event. Tell me about, I mean, what you've been up to.
Yeah, man. Well, I've got a really good buddy. His name's George Kovalenko, and he and I went to school together when we were getting our audio degrees. He's Ukrainian. He's one of the funniest people and kindest people and smartest people I know. Hands down, one of the best engineers that I know. And Georgie really built himself a great career out here. He and I actually used to work together as front and back of house at the world famous Smith's Old Bar, renowned for the sound, in Atlanta. And eventually Georgie started working with the guys in Yacht Rock. Sorry, I didn't say that right. Georgie started working with the guys in Yacht Rock Review, and was their back of house guy, and just really built himself this amazing career in Atlanta. And it was such a cool thing to see him come from a place that you know, was struggling even before war, and just see him do well. And he's a little bit of a younger cat than me, and so he calls me Dad, which is kind of funny, you know, because he'll call me on the phone and be like, "Hello, Dad, how are you feeling yourself?" But anyway, you know, war broke out, and Georgie had to put everything down that he had here, everything that he worked for, and sold his car, sold his stuff, and went home to Ukraine. And when shit was going crazy out there, like, here's how crazy it was. Georgie, his original plan was to go to Warsaw in Poland and sort of operate out of there. And by the time that his plane had landed, the town that his sister and his mother and his aunts and his grandmother had been attacked. And so they were then forced to go to Portugal. And so Georgie, you know, was basically the kind of spearheader of all this, because his father had to remain in Kyiv to work there to stop what was going on. So it really just broke my heart, man. You know, and it's like, you know, I know that, like, we're at war all over the place, you know, and it's like it's not like there's no blood on our hands as Americans or anything like that. But this thing really just got to me, because it just, you know, I can see it, and I can see what it looks like. And so it made me sad, and it pissed me off. And I kind of realized that, you know, like, Georgie and I have a ton of material of stuff that I had written, and we recorded over the years with Brian Strickland, who, as we call Mr. Jesus. So yeah, Georgie and Mr. Jesus and I recorded just, you know, all this material. And I was like, well, I'm going to put it out, and then I'm just going to donate it to whatever charity Georgie chooses. And in a really good way, it got out of my hands. And so we've got it was originally going to be here, and you know, you guys can see. I mean, I know people who are listening can't see, but it's not a very big room. But we were going to do it here, and we had enough interest to move it to another venue, which is a place called Mom Says It's Fine, owned and operated by the great Mike Sartain. And we're gonna have some artwork from Ukrainian artists. We're gonna have some cool flags that are sort of a cross between the American and the Ukrainian flag, and we're gonna donate all of this money to a charity that Georgie's been working on, which is basically it's in conjunction with some of Elon Musk's technology. And what it is basically sort of a portable voltage output. And one thing that we don't see often on the news is what happens to the really small towns in Ukraine that just get absolutely mowed over by the Russians. And you know, these towns are towns of, you know, 1,000 people or less. And so basically what's going on is the Ukrainian government, this is called, I'm sorry, just give me just 1 second. This is so unprofessional. This is called Starlink. And so the technology is available, but after these towns get attacked and they don't have power, they have no way to use it. And so what these devices do is you can charge any type of gadget, laptop, phone, any type of thing from it.
So this is just helping a completely devastated town or
Exactly.
or village or city just kind of get back
Exactly.
in the game a little bit. Yeah.
And even to utilize the technology that has been made available to them, because if they don't have power, then they can't use Starlink. And this is actually a really great piece of technology that helps them out a lot. So what we're trying to do is raise money to build these devices. They cost about $2,000 each, which, you know, shit, I used to drink $2,000.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, I mean,
that can go so far just to getting people back online and getting people back reconnected with their loved ones, and just kind of have some sense that they're not completely shut off from everything. Yeah.
And you know, I mean, and these remote places where you know, power, I mean, let alone, I mean, some of these places, like even the roads, you can't travel on them, especially at this point, because it's raining out there, and you know, the roads are a lot of times are untravelable. And so, yeah, it's just, to me, it was a really just sensible and practical way to help people that actually really need the help. Because, you know, at this point, you know, like obviously it's not safe anywhere, and it fucking sucks everywhere out there. But, you know, these towns, they're not under any military protection. They're not under any sort of guard. And so if the Russians want to go through, that's exactly what they'll do.
Right.
And so just sort of kind of flipping the bird back at them and just being like, all right, well, you know, we're gonna get our power back up and utilize this thing that the Ukrainian government has given us, and fuck you. So
nice.
Yeah, so we're gonna have like I said, we're gonna have some T-shirts. We're gonna have some stuff for sale, and joining me will be my bandmate and partner, Kelly Blackman, and also one of my old friends, Bo Bedingfield, who plays in a band called the wildest out of Athens, Georgia. And so he'll be down there, and so we're all gonna do our own solo set. Georgie is going to join us live via satellite.
Nice.
to actually demonstrate how this technology works. And he's going to take us, he and his dad are going to take us to one of these towns that has been busted up pretty bad. And they're going to show us what it looks like, you know, and let us see what it looks like.
The most similar thing I could think of that like any of us have even been close to going through would be like after a hurricane, like these little towns in the middle of nowhere, like you have no power for like days, weeks sometimes, but it's not like the
Right.
hurricane's going to come back the next day and wipe you out
Yeah.
again. It's a little bit different, but it's somewhat similar to that.
Sure, yeah. And it's like, well, I mean, out here, like, I mean, a couple of days ago, man, like I mean, you guys probably caught a little bit of it too up there in Charleston, but we had a massive storm down here a couple of days ago, you know, and we lost power for a couple of days. And like my biggest concern is like my bearded dragon. It's like, fuck, his light went on, you know? And it's like, just thinking about that versus just this entire town, trucks can't get in. The roads suck ass. So the mud is too bad for the trucks to get in to even repair it. Georgia Power had this shit done in 6 hours.
Yeah.
They had it done before I fucking woke up, man. You
Right.
know, and so it's like just thinking about that and just like the circumstances that these towns are under, and like we don't see a lot of that in our media coverage, because you know it's more fun to show Kyiv getting bombed, you know, or something like that. But the reality is that like one of the real major issues now is these smaller towns just getting sacked and just wiped out. And then, you know, once they have this technology, they have access to getting food. They have access to, you know, I mean, even figuring out how to get water and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it's gone from like first world to third world just
Yeah.
in the last couple of months because of all this stuff going on. It's unfair.
yeah, and so that's why we're doing it. And you know, I don't know a ton of them, but every Ukrainian I've met, they're just the coolest and funniest people I've ever seen, you know. And it's just like they do not
Incredibly resilient.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredibly resilient and fighters. And so that's you know, as far as the Kovalenko sessions and the cover of the record, that was designed by my good friend Andrew Baker, as was the poster. But the symbolism of the sunflower on the cover of the
Can't
record.
see it.
Yeah, we're gonna
Say what?
post all that. We're gonna post
Okay.
all that stuff up on either Patreon or other social media stuff when we release these episodes for sure. We'll put as much visual aids out there to help people get to this event for sure. But
Awesome, man.
but yeah, back to the
Can I just tell you one more last quick thing? So this sunflower, it's basically it's based off the story of like when the invasion first started happening, of this little old Ukrainian granny in her 80s who had a fistful of sunflower seeds, and she walked up to
I remember seeing this.
yeah she
Yes.
walked up to a Russian soldier, and she put the seeds in his breast pocket, and she's like, that way when you die, something good will come out of where you were from, you know. So that's the symbolism
Awesome.
of the yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
that's it, man. And it's August 28th, or sorry, August 27th. I'm sorry. And it's at Mike Stasny's place. Mom said it's fine.
Mom says it's fine. Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time for sure. And we're gonna live stream it, and you can buy tickets and watch it online. And every single cent goes to this charity to create these devices for these folks. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. We're gonna do everything we can to get people out. And we're gonna have you back. We're gonna have you back in a couple of weeks to maybe give us some updates. We've got this episode we've got another episode, part of this episode coming out in a couple weeks, and we're going to have you back, and we'll talk about maybe if there's been some updates. Maybe we'll get some food out there. I've heard this crazy thing about these things called Kiev cakes. Why don't you tell me about this Kiev cake thing?
Honestly, man, I don't know, because I haven't even tried it, but I can tell you that my wife has really, like, it's been like, she's tried it a couple of times, and she's been giving herself some locker room talks about it. And she's like, I'm not gonna fuck it up this time. And the last one was pretty good, but as far as I understand it, it takes about a day and a half to make it, because you have to like do something with the egg and like seal it and like vacuum seal it or something, and then it's like this sort of custard, but it's like chocolate. It's delicious. It's
someone's coming.
Delicious.
Someone's coming with some Kiev cakes.
I hope so, man. I really hope so. So
awesome. Well, like I said, we're going to definitely have you back to close out part 2 of this episode, and we'll get some updates. We're going to close out this episode with a song off of your "It's a Long Way Back" EP, and this one kind of goes back. It's called Marcelino. This one goes back to the days of the horse that we talked about.
Yeah, our old buddies.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about this song we're going to have you close us out with?
Well, it's basically for 2 of me and Tim's old friends, Marcy Gibson and John Niddle. Both just wonderfully funny and beautiful guys. And they left us, and we miss them. And so I wrote this song for them.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're gonna leave it at that. I said we'll have you back in a couple of weeks to talk about your event and any updates. But Mike, it's a pleasure to have you on. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, and we're gonna roll out with this is Mike Sartain off of the "It's a Long Way Back" EP. Thanks
for having me, guys.
This is Marcelino. We'll see you next time.